New in the last 5 minutes, Trump negotiator claims U.S. Embassy Jerusalem move necessary for peace in the last 10 minutes. In the last half-hour, emerging Europe trio bloc joint EU statement on U.S. Embassy in Israel. U.S. Embassy to open in Jerusalem amid applause and protests, most EU ambassadors absent. As Israel marks U.S. Embassy move in the last hour, U.S. to open Jerusalem Embassy despite Palestinian tension in the last 2 hours. Romney slams Trump's choice of bigot pastor for Jerusalem Embassy prayer in the last 4 hours. History about to be made in the Holy Land with U.S. Embassy move in the last 6 hours. U.S. set for deeply controversial Jerusalem Embassy move. Israel begins celebrations to mark Jerusalem U.S. Embassy opening. U.S. Embassy opens in Jerusalem. 9 things to know about the city. Joe Lieberman applauds Trump on embassy move. Earlier today, U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem ready for controversial opening. The embassy move is more than just a move. Watch. U.S. opening new American embassy in Jerusalem. U.S. set to break with tradition and open embassy in Jerusalem. Yesterday, Ivanka arrives for controversial opening of U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem. Embassy move new blow to statehood. Israeli soccer team adding Trump to name to celebrate embassy move ahead of official embassy opening. It's Jerusalem of red, white, and blue. U.S. delegation arrives in Israel ahead of Jerusalem Embassy opening. U.S. Embassy move deals blow to Palestinian hopes ahead of Nakba video. Jared and Ivanka arrive in Israel for embassy opening. Bolton, embassy in Jerusalem is recognition of reality. U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem opens to a fraught climate. Israel destroys Gaza tunnel as U.S. prepares to open Jerusalem Embassy. Ivanka Trump, Jared Kushner arrive in Jerusalem ahead of U.S. Embassy opening. U.S. Embassy in Israel to open, security prepared for all scenarios. Beitar Jerusalem adds Trump to its name to honor embassy move. Ivanka Trump in Israel to open U.S. Embassy. U.S. Embassy in Israel to open, security prepared for all situations. Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump arrive in Israel for Jerusalem Embassy opening. Trump delegation arrives in Israel ahead of controversial embassy opening. U.S. delegation arrives in Jerusalem ahead of controversial embassy move. Netanyahu welcomes U.S. delegation to Jerusalem on eve of embassy opening. Trump is making history, Netanyahu says ahead of U.S. Embassy opening. Ivanka Trump arrives in Israel ahead of U.S. Embassy move. Ivanka Trump, Jared Kushner in Israel ahead of U.S. Embassy opening. Jared and Ivanka arrive in Israel for Jerusalem Embassy dedication. Judge Pirro praises Trump for moving embassy in Israel. Ivanka Trump in Jerusalem for embassy opening. As Gaza braces for bloodshed, Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump arrive in Israel for U.S. Embassy opening. Netanyahu, Jared Kushner meet in Jerusalem ahead of embassy opening. Trump predicts big week as Jerusalem welcomes U.S. Embassy. U.S. readies to open Jerusalem Embassy. Ivanka Trump arrives in Israel ahead of U.S. Embassy opening. Jerusalem, new home of U.S. Embassy, at core of Mideast strife for Palestinians. U.S. Embassy move a show of pro-Israel bias. U.S. plans to open Jerusalem Embassy opposed across Middle East. U.S. envoy sees hope for peace after Israel Embassy move to Jerusalem. Watch. U.S. delegation arrives for embassy dedication. Trump rejected plans for larger Jerusalem Embassy. Watch. Trump envoy David Friedman previews Jerusalem Embassy. U.S. Embassy's move to Jerusalem becomes reality Monday. Trump talks up Jerusalem Embassy opening in the last 7 days. Ivanka Trump has great joy going to Jerusalem Embassy. Send Ted Cruz to attend opening of U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem. Ivanka Trump returning to Jerusalem for embassy dedication. With joy, Trump claims he saved nearly $1 billion on U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem. Checks among states to block EU criticism of U.S. Embassy move in Israel. Trump claims he saved almost $999,800,000 on U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem.